Alright guys, welcome to the tutorial. In this video, I will show you where to download the tools we would need throughout the course. The tool we're going to be using is something called the Visual Studio Community Edition. Mind you, there is something called the Visual Studio Code, and that's not what we are going to be using. The Visual Studio Code is lighter. The Visual Studio Community Edition requires some sort of heavy installation, and that's what we're going to be using in this tutorial. So, just to point it out for you, this is what we're going to be using. Is called the Visual Studio. This is a community edition, and this is what the icon looks like. For the Visual Studio Code, I'm going to just search for that. For the Visual Studio Code, this is what the icon looks like. So we are not making use of the Visual Studio Code. We are making use of the Visual Studio Community Edition. So let's head over to our browser and download the Visual Studio Community Edition. So I'm going to type download the Visual Studio Community Edition, and obviously the first link that appears on Google is the correct link, the one that directly refers you to Microsoft, Microsoft.com. So go ahead, hit this link, and it will take you to the page where, or to the website where you can download the Visual Studio Community Edition. So go ahead and hit the download button, as we can all see on my screen, and it would download automatically the Visual Studio installer. And you can see here that the installer started downloading and is done, and we have an executable file. So go to the folder where this executable file has been downloaded into your computer, and this is where mine is. And right now we are going to run the Visual Studio installer. So the installer is going to help us download and install the Visual Studio Community Edition. So I double tap on the installer, and things start to get exciting. So guys, go ahead, hit yes, and blah 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 blah. Yep, agree. Obviously, you want to agree to the privacy, Microsoft privacy statements and licenses. So continue, and the Visual Studio installer would get downloaded and installed. Now, the installer is what helps us to download the community edition, the Visual Studio Community Edition. So this is going to be quite fast, but now when we get to the part where we have to download the Visual Studio Community Edition, that's the heavy install, and that's going to take some time depending on the speed of your internet. Yes, now we are here. So because I already have the Visual Studio Community Edition installed on my system or on my computer, it is prompting me to simply do an update. So it says here, there is an update available. So for you, if you don't have the Visual Studio Community Edition on your computer, it's going to prompt you to download and install the Community Edition on this dialog box. So I'm not going to update anything. So for you, go ahead here. You should be seeing an option here that says install. So go ahead here and install. And when you hit install, it's gonna open up a dialog box like this for you. Please pay attention to this part, because you want to download, you want to download the workloads we would be using throughout the course contents, throughout this course. So two things we're going to be using in this tutorials are ASP.NET and web development to get this checked, and .NET desktop development, and so also get this checked. So you can leave every other thing unchecked. Don't mind my profile here. This is my preference. I just put everything checked, but You want to have like you don't want to like use up your memory, and you want to get this installed fast. So for this tutorial or for this course, the only things we will be using is the ASP.NET and web development and the .NET desktop development. So get these two stuff checked and leave every other thing unchecked. So if you have done this, go ahead and hit the install. You can go by install while downloading, or you can go by download or then install. But I'll advise you to click on install while downloading and apply so that you can get stuff installed. Once you get this installed, I will see you guys in the next section of this video. Thank you guys for following, and I hope to meet you guys in the next video. Cheers.